Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Pit Lane Yappers. Today we're going to be recapping Jeddah. So I'm Lex.
I'm Reagan.
I'm Tay.
I'm Haley.
I'm Rosie.
I'm Mox.
I'm going to start by saying, first of all, happy birthday to Tay because it is obviously the morning here. So happy birthday.
Cheers.
But also in England right now, it is Mother's Day. So happy Mother's Day to all the mothers, and happy birthday to the best mother of them all, George Russell.
Happy birthday, George Russell.
Happy birthday. The cuntiest man on the grid. Welcome back, Nico Rosberg.
Oh my gosh.
So
Let's go.
FP1.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, there were plastic bags everywhere. Where were they coming from?
No clue.
Actually, I have no idea.
Katy
They
Perry.
were next to the Red Sea. I don't know where.
The Red Sea that was obviously made.
Like Charles's radio saying like it's like Mario Kart. Like, first of all, what Mario Kart has a plastic bag? Second of all,
Also, I think
Give-
Max said he hit a plastic water bottle at one point too.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like what? I just want to know where they're coming from.
Do the people of Jeddah not know it's a crime to litter?
It might not be a crime there.
It might
I
not
don't know the
be.
rules.
Yeah.
Be for real.
I don't know the laws. I'm just saying it might not be. But also a little engineering comment. I don't know, Reagan, if you have this fun fact, but Mercedes had a new wing and it was track specific and it was wavy. It was actually very pretty. I had no idea what they were saying. They were like, it's aerodynamic, it lets the air through, and I'm like, don't all rear wings do that? But I guess it's more
it has more
specific to that.
downforce in the back,
Yeah.
I believe.
Which showed.
Yeah.
But
They were way faster. in the
apparently like a
straights.
lot of the cars had track specific stuff. So good for them.
All of the teams except for Alpine, Haas, and Sauber had new rear wing configurations for this race. So what does that say about those teams?
Yeah,
Well,
it kind of showed.
I would say 2 out of those 3 really showed.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's like very impressive because Mercedes, like they all had very good performances, the ones who changed their rear wings.
Mhm.
So I'm very interested to see what they're going to bring to Australia. Like, are they going back to kind of being slow, or are they going to be good?
Mm-hmm.
I say keep the rear wing.
Yeah.
If you're fast, why change it back? Upgrade! Okay, also, I don't know if anybody noticed Lando's radio to his engineer was like, I'm bouncing so much. And then the commentators were like, everyone's bouncing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lewis, I know, got on a couple of times also to talk about the bouncing, the porpoising again. And
I think
that
Yuki
was really
did,
funny.
too.
Yeah, the commentators were like, we fixed this issue.
Yeah.
What's happening?
It's like, okay, bro thinks he's on the team.
Yeah.
Can we talk about Lance hitting the wall? And
Yeah,
before he
actually.
said anything, he said, oop,
I hit the wall.
oop,
Yeah.
he's one of the girls. He's one of the girlies. He literally came onto the radio and oops.
The same as George going, ooh.
Yeah,
in the
George
pit
was
lane.
going through.
Ooh. Yeah. Yeah. I like their noises.
Yeah.
The fact that they felt the need to press the radio button just to say
Yeah.
that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Also, like, he hit the wall, and so he went into the pit, and Aston Martin could not get that wheel off for the life of them. That
No,
poor
they were
pit crew was
struggling.
trying.
Mm-mm.
I was
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, my team is falling apart.
No,
like-
they're too stuck together. Like nothing's coming apart.
Oh my gosh. I was like, okay, only Lance Stroll. Only Lance Stroll could hit the wall and somehow get his freaking tire stuck.
Yeah.
Most of the time, the cars have the tires fly off, but
Mhm.
somehow Lance Stroll. But
Logan and Carlos,
oh
Beefing.
yeah,
when they were kind of beefing a little bit. So sorry, Lex.
That was a
The
we're actually
yeah.
going through a midlife
It didn't
crisis.
happen in my brain.
If I remember correctly, it was Carlos possibly impeding Logan a little bit.
But wasn't
It was
FP
Hamilton impeding.
Yeah, I was
No,
gonna
that
say
was
it
in
was.
No, this was-
Carlos
No, that was
was-
FP2.
Yeah.
This is
Oh,
FP1.
that was, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Logan was getting a lot of almost killings happening
Yes.
to him
Yeah.
this weekend.
Yes.
I think both Carlos and Logan were on an outlap, but neither team was communicating well that
Yeah, I
information, and so
see.
they both were trying to. It was just bad in too tight of a corner.
Carlos said he was never told.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which,
And then
I
Logan
feel like
went,
there was
he's
a
in my
lot
way.
of that kind of
Yeah.
stuff during practice of
Yeah.
teams not communicating when people were on flying laps, and it was
Mhm.
causing a
What
lot
I'm
of
hearing
issues.
is I
Yeah.
blame Ricky.
Yeah. That's a safe
Okay.
bet.
yes.
When in doubt, I'm blaming that Ferrari pit wall.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, real.
Because I guess that also fast forwards to free practice 2 then, because Logan almost crashed into Lewis.
Let's talk
be-
about this.
Because Lewis was also not told apparently that Logan was on a fast lap and that he was coming. And Carlos was barely able to get out of the way. I mean, he got out of the way, but
I
he
mean,
was
it was
barely
kind
able
of
to.
like a almost three-way crash.
Because it was a
Yes.
blind
Because
corner.
Lewis had a blind corner. I will say
Mhm.
Lewis came back and said, I didn't see him. He was
Yeah.
cleared. His
Yep.
people were like, yeah, we didn't tell him. Sorry, that was our
Yeah.
bad. So like, I will say
Bono.
it's not Lewis's fault though.
No.
But then Carlos went on the radio and goes, yeah, Hamilton
that
just
was
almost killed
dangerous.
Sargent.
Yeah. He went on like a
I
whole
got- I know
that
rampage. He was
turn
like, I got
10.
Logan's back.
I got Carl Logan content, but at what cost? I've been praying for this. I've been
Logan's
praying
life.
for this day. Only for what? Logan to almost be killed by 7-time world champion Lewis Hamilton?
Yeah.
What a way to go.
Listen,
And the fact that
Also-
it was at turn 10, which like people have been struggling with the whole week.
Oh my
Like
God.
that's a dangerous corner. Like that could have
Never
been so
saw
bad.
that. Yeah.
Was it me or did it seem like I mean I mentioned it a lot. I like saw it more in qualifying in FP3, but the camera angles, first of all, made me nauseous.
Yeah. The new one behind the driver's head.
I
Yeah.
actually really
Where
like the
It was
gyro
shaking. I was
Yeah.
like, whoa,
Yeah.
I'm getting vertigo. But I liked the idea, but it didn't seem like it was strapped on properly.
I think
I will also
during
say
the race they fixed it though, because I know I
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
watching Lando's and Lando's gyro cam, and I really enjoyed that. I'm like,
Yeah.
ooh, we're going fast.
But like that camera angle also made it look like this track was so tight. I was
Yeah.
like, how's anybody passing on this? And I know they're small cars, but like I was like, there's no way there's two cars that can go next to each other.
From seeing the R8 in person, they're a lot longer than you
Mhm.
think they are. They're
They are.
Yeah.
really long, and they're quite wide as well. Like, I don't know.
I mean, I think it was the McLaren that I saw, and I was like, okay, that's not as wide as I thought. It was definitely longer, but
Yeah.
it was a lot smaller than, I mean, the RB8 was a whole different generation of F1 cars though. So like they
Yeah.
have made them more narrow, but there's no way two cars can go next to each other. But I mean, obviously they can, but it just seemed like from that angle, it looked so small. But also, can we talk about Carlos and Oscar?
Why is the beef continuing? I thought we left this last
I'm
year.
so sorry, Rosie, but like, I was like really race 2 and they're already beefing.
Well, it's okay because
Hey,
championship standings
kind.
right now.
Okay,
Alright.
it's race 2. Calm
Also
down.
with FP2, so
And
continuing
what a
with free
season.
practice, it was delayed because
Mhm.
can you guess it? Loose drain covers.
Yup.
Can we
In the
just
pit lane
can we
this
talk
time.
about? Can
Yes,
we just
in
talk
front of
about
Alpine.
this is likely.
Who's surprised?
That was their strategy
Fork
for the
found in
weekend,
kitchen.
actually, to give them more time.
But like, also, can we talk about how it's the pinnacle of motorsport and they literally cannot figure out drain covers?
And this all started because of Vegas. Thank you, Vegas.
Get rid of
That's-
Vegas. Maybe the drain
Vegas, you
covers will
ate
be
this
fine
one
again.
little thing.
But yeah. Okay, then FP3, Carlos.
Oh, poor
Yeah.
boy. Well, he was looking so
He
worse
looked
for wear
so
Well,
the
bad.
in fact, One
entire
Direction.
the entire weekend.
He
He
should not have been in that car.
Yeah,
No.
FP2
Also-
like he didn't eat. He was
Yeah.
like running on
Yeah.
nothing.
If his
and, like,
appendix
what?
burst while in that, like
Oh.
all the G in that car, like
Yeah.
Yeah,
no.
exactly.
First of all, how was he allowed to drive? Also,
Like no
Well,
that
they didn't know.
hurts.
They didn't know he had appendicitis until what?
But
Yeah,
it's
but
Saturday?
Rosie,
Can
did you
I
see
also
him?
bring up
Yeah, no, I saw him,
Oh.
but like, it's not like, oh, he's got appendicitis. Put him in the car, dude.
But I also think like there's like he hadn't eaten anything at
in a
all.
day.
And
Yeah.
he had a fever. So like I feel like there should be a point like
Oh,
don't
totally.
to not put like somebody in
Welcome
a
back, Alex
car like that.
Albon.
I feel like that's also kind of on the team though, because obviously he's gonna want to go out and do whatever, but the team
Not the
should
team,
be
but
like
the
there's a
medical
line
part of
that
the
you
team.
cannot.
Yeah.
Speaking
med-
of
Yeah.
the team, then there was Frederick Vasseur going, "Oh, it was probably indigestion." Ha ha ha.
He's like, I'm
Meanwhile-
not worried about the oversteer. I'm worried about his stomach.
Yeah.
Like what?
Appendicitis hurts from
Mhm.
like anything you look like. It's severe stomach pain.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that he was driving, and he was driving well,
Yeah.
it wasn't like he wasn't in the front of the grid. Like he was
not like he was an
quite
Alpine.
good.
Well, we
I was gonna
cannot
say that.
talk about Carlos and appendicitis without talking about domino effect number 1. Let's play a national anthem for Ollie Bearman because what a performance that
Yeah. Yeah.
Welcome to the grid. Welcome
And
back,
yeah.
One
Youngest-
Direction.
was. Youngest Ferrari driver in a quarter of a century.
I
sorry,
think he's the
Charles.
youngest. Isn't
Yeah,
he the
he's the
youngest
youngest.
ever?
Third youngest.
Youngest driver.
Third
Yeah,
youngest.
He's the youngest
driver
Ferrari
ever.
driver ever.
Youngest
Yeah.
Ferrari, and then
And
third
And
youngest.
third youngest
He was
driver
the. Oh my
ever.
god, I have it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
third
He was
youngest
the,
driver ever, and
what's it called?
the first driver to make a debut with Ferrari since 1972.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Boom.
Because they don't usually go for new
Do we
people.
count this as a debut?
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah,
It's his first time racing in an
I
F1
know.
car.
I know. Physically, F1 calls that a debut, but I feel like a debut should be when you're on a team for a season,
He
or at
literally
least
drove
signed.
an F1 race, though. Like, how is that not a debut in F1?
There's some
Because
people
he
that are
drove an
reserve
F1
drivers
race.
that never
He
get
Um,
scored points. It's definitely
Yeah.
a debut.
Yes.
I know, but I just feel like it's not like a real debut. Like he's going back to F2 when Carlos is
He's
better.
currently 10th in the standings.
It's the fact that he has more F1 points than F2 points
Yeah.
for me.
What?
It's the fact that he knocked
The fact he
Pierre down to 21st in the
And
championship for
he
me.
almost knocked out Lewis in quali, didn't he?
Yeah, he
but
almost did.
Yeah.
So
So
if we're talking about Ollie Bearman, we have to talk about somebody that comes with him, like his father. His father.
Dill.
His father had more.
That man needed a cup of tea, I'm telling you.
They showed him more often than anyone else.
He had more screen time than Max, and I
Yeah.
found that hysterical.
fair,
Yeah.
to be honest. Fair.
And they,
Yeah.
I know in the post race, or I forget if it was the pre or the post. No, pre race, they had interviewed him, and they were like, "What do you expect today?" They're like, "No expectations, just for him to enjoy
He
it."
was like,
There's a
"Yes,
And then-
father.
And then his
I was like-
son goes and wins. He scores points on debut in a
Wins.
Ferrari.
Yeah.
Imagine. Okay, back to FP3. Well, pinning it.
We have to talk about it because Logan hit the wall,
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
which
Yeah.
like so sorry Lex, but everybody was hitting the wall there.
Yeah. No, that was a problematic
But
wall.
can we talk about F1 TV really did him dirty with that graphic?
I didn't wait. Pause. I didn't see it.
Oh my
'cause I
gosh, it was like
graphic.
tuned
Logan
in.
Sargent close to the wall, 0
Oh.
centimeters.
Oh.
Gross. And it was his tire
It's
in the
too
wall.
close.
I was like, this man is done dirty.
Okay, but also Oscar ricocheting off of the wall and hitting
Yeah,
it.
It was just an
3
aggressive
times.
kiss.
Yeah, and he still got fast to
Hit
slap.
and hit again. Yeah, I was like,
that is
"Ooh."
my goat. And his radio
don't
was like, my bad guys, sorry.
Yeah.
Flipped the wall.
Yeah. And we also had a crash in FP3.
Yeah.
That was really scary.
That was quite a crash.
That was
Did you
really
hear-
scary.
I don't know how many of you guys watch F1 TV, whatever, but when I was watching it, there was this really weird alarm that went off after he hit the
Yeah,
wall. My mom was like, "What was that?" And I was like,
it's
"Oh,
the G-force
that-
alarm,
alarm."
which
That's
is
how
why the
hard.
medical team came.
That's how hard he hit the wall. So the fact that he walked away from that,
And the fact he
And-
picked up his freaking front wing.
yeah,
He was out here cleaning up after himself. I'm like,
I was like, this
"No."
man's cleaning up after himself
I
after a
have to
crash.
say,
I was like, "You don't need to do that."
Joe's ability to come out of horrific looking crashes
Mhm.
is
I need him to be calm.
Grosjean level.
I will say,
Like, welcome back, Romain Grosjean.
Put some respect on his name. He's done
but I will
nothing
also
wrong.
say, like, since like all these crashes were happening and people were like getting severely injured with G-force, they have been trying to figure out how to make it safer for the
Mhm.
drivers, and that just goes to show the engineers have done that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because like the Max Verstappen crash, I think
Mm.
it was in Barcelona in 2021 where he hit the wall, and they were
Oh,
like, that
yeah.
is the same G-force that killed another driver, and he walked away with it without a concussion. Like that goes to show how modern engineering is working.
Mm-hmm.
It's insane.
Which, thank God, like that's
Mhm.
terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
That crash was really scary. And the fact I was like, oh, that does not look good. And I was like, they'll be fine for qualifying.
It was so sad because he was out on the lap as the
Mhm.
as the checkered flag came out.
Yeah.
That was such a
Felt
bummer
so
because
bad
that
for
team
him.
worked so hard.
Yeah.
Props to them.
Honestly.
Which
Shall we
that's a
move on
great
into
leeway
quali?
into
Yeah.
quali.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that
Yeah.
team hustled like hell
Yeah.
to get him
They
out
did.
there.
Shout out to
And
Kick.
it's a miracle that they got him out there to begin with.
Yeah.
Like, that car was looking rough when they showed him in the garage. I was like, there's no way he's gonna
Mhm.
even be able to make it out. Like, the fact that they attempted to, I think is
Yeah.
And they succeeded.
yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
If
Oh,
we're
it's crazy.
talking Q1, Oscar hit the wall like, well, he was clipping the wall like
Yeah.
multiple times.
Mhm.
Once again, still got the fastest lap.
because he's
Oscar?
goated.
Mm.
Okay.
Welcome back, Mark
Mhm.
Webber.
Exactly.
Oh, nah. Not Mark Webber.
Mark Webber.
Mark Webber.
Mark Webber.
Mark Webber.
I have to like stick my head out to say it every time. Like,
I have to go
Webber.
Mark Webber. I
Mark
have to
Webber.
move my head.
Q1.
Yeah.
All I want to
I don't have
say-
them in Q1, 2, and 3. I just have my notes.
I just have them in order of how like I took them and that Q1, 2, 3.
Hulkenberg
sequence.
and Logan.
Exactly. I have personal
Mhm.
beef with the MoneyGram Haas F1 team because both in
Not the
qualifying,
full name.
because both
Not the
in
government
qualifying
name.
and during the race, both of those drivers had beef with Logan Sargent.
Also, the yellow flag for Nico, and they showed him lounging in a
Just
chair, and they
chilling.
were like,
We'll never
In the
beat
car?
Fernando Alonso.
the official F1 account was like, oh, like, spot the difference between the Fernando Alonso DNF and that one. And I was like, wow, how much time do you have?
A couple of championships.
I got a whole list.
a
a couple of
wins,
wins,
couple of podiums.
a couple of top teams, a couple of pole positions.
And also, I know the F1 TV commentators when they were showing Nico just sitting there. They're like, "Oh, he's a father of a young girl. He's probably just enjoying the quiet time." I'm like, "Listen here.
Oh my god.
What?"
Also, when Ollie got into the car and they were like, he's under investigation, I was like,
He's
what is
literally-
wrong with these people? I'm like, he's a child. Let him
He
drive.
just stepped in the car.
Real.
I know it was for like not following race instructions. I'm so
He doesn't
sorry.
know the
He doesn't know how to
instructions
work the race right now. So
Just
it's a learning curve. But
Because
He's only been doing this for 20 minutes.
Quali, I was watching it where I work, and then I was holding my breath the whole time for like watching Oscar qualify, because he was like right down at the bottom for ages, and then he went out on that flying lap and put
Yeah.
himself like fourth, and I was like, I literally.
can we talk about how Q1 they didn't put Oscar out for like 12 minutes? He was
Yeah.
just chilling in the garage, and I was like, okay, are
Not
they
even
just
in the
taking the
car.
L?
I was like,
I
no, you're
was
just
like, this
going
better
down.
be the best fucking lap I've ever seen. Put him out.
He did the Alonso thing, and it worked.
Yeah.
Also, can we
Yeah.
talk about how in Q1 the same exact 5 drivers got out last week?
That's what being a misogynist does to you.
Hold on.
You leave Logan Sargent out of this. I am
Um,
happy that Alex Albon made it into Q2, which
Mhm.
brings us into
Aren't we all?
Q2. For a minute, I was so stressed out about it. I forgot that it was Q2. I thought that Q2 was what was setting the grid. And I was like cheering about people getting out. And I'm like, yeah, you're out. But then I was like, wait a second. We still have Q3.
If we're talking Q2, can
Sergeant
we talk
Karma.
Ollie Bearman qualifying 11th?
Yes, we can
That
talk
That
about
man,
literally the most
man,
amazing
boy.
effort.
that
Man,
child.
boy.
Man,
That
child.
boy. I understand he's done this track with F2 and everything, and he's like probably the best F2 driver. He did really well in a car that he was not familiar with,
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
and he kept up with his teammate.
And the fact that the F1 car was projected to be like 14 seconds faster than the F2 car around that track, going from being pole in an F2 car, which to be pole, obviously you're already super fast, to then being P11 for qualifying in your first time in an actual F1. Like,
Yeah.
Almost,
Point out.
almost displacing Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah, by 300ths of a second. Like,
I just want to point out that was probably only his third time in an F1 car because he did testing,
Haas.
preseason
For
testing with
Haas.
them.
Yeah.
But he
Haas.
also did it with didn't he
In
do it with
October,
Ferrari?
No,
he
I
did
think
with
he did
Ferrari.
Ferrari.
Yeah.
He did one
That's
with
when he went
Ferrari.
with
He's
Leclerc.
mainly Haas, so he's
Mhm.
driving one of
Mhm.
the slowest cars on the grid, and now he's going
So-
to a top team.
And then he
Mhm.
went into practice FP3 and then straight into quali. So like that was like his third time in a Ferrari car. So like
I mean, the Ferrari car is a tractor sometimes, so but
But it's
this
faster
time
than
it wasn't.
I just amazing job for him. Like huge.
Mhm.
And I truly hope that we see him in
I
a
also
seat next year.
really like how basically the entire grid supported him.
Mhm.
And
when
like
it was
I was just
Liam
gonna
Lawson's
say that.
first
Did you
race, and everyone was
see-
just like, "You're gonna
Nope.
die in the first turn."
Lewis
After
waited
the
by his
race.
car,
Mhm.
which
did you
is so-
also see? Maybe I shouldn't say. Never mind. I'm gonna hold myself back.
Nope. You say it. Just say it.
What, that he messaged him before the race?
Seb messaged Ollie and said, "Good luck." I want to cry.
Sorry, I said it all.
That's so sweet. But you're a grid father. Come and visit your children sometimes.
As grid mother,
Preferably
actually.
Silverstone.
Yeah, grid
As
mother.
grid mother.
grid
Happy
mother.
Mother's Day, Sebastian Vettel.
Real.
Sebastian Vettel.
Happy Mother's Day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as being
Also, I know that
co-leader
man.
of Ollie Bearman Nation with Haley, I loved seeing all of the like support and respect he was getting from
Yeah.
everyone. I didn't see one bad thing about him
And
the
the-
whole weekend,
Mhm.
and I'm
So-
sure like that felt so good for him.
I think
Oscar
also like
said that being around Ollie made him feel really old. I'm like, babe, you're the second youngest on the grid. Like, I don't want to
Yeah, next
Also,
week you're
fact-
gonna be the youngest again.
Rest of
Yeah.
my
the
comment was,
fact that on
he makes
the
me feel
drivers'
so old.
parade.
I wonder how Fernando feels.
But yes, good job, Ollie
have- I
Bearman,
have all
for
my
qualifying
notes.
11th. Q1 with
Yuki
Yuki Tsunoda.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yuki
Finally.
Tsunoda out qualifying his teammate for the second
Yup.
race in a row. We cheer.
I
Mhm.
think Yuki also, that goes to show that Yuki deserves a seat.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
totally.
I know it's only 2 races, but like he's being a very consistent driver
Mhm.
for RB. I think that just goes to show like he is worthy of that seat. He shouldn't be replaced. At least talk to him about a contract renewal,
Yep.
please.
Mhm.
Is he one of the ones that doesn't have one for 2025?
Mhm.
Yeah. Basically, literally, I think there's
There's 13, I think.
Yeah.
Most
yeah, I
of
was
them
gonna
don't
say
have
12
anything.
or 13.
And it's a little over half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's like
So,
13.
if we're doing Q3, Q3, obviously Yuki is a standout. Then Charles qualified front row again, which is
Yeah,
time in
it
a row.
was
second is
row.
basically pole these days. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except, do we really want Charles on another pole for a race he doesn't win?
No.
Because he already holds that statistic for the most pole positions without a race win.
But I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing.
he took that record off Bottas, by the way.
Oh, fun fact about pole positions is that Perez has only ever taken 2 poles in his entire career, in Miami and in Jeddah, and Jeddah is the only race that he has ever won from pole. So
Oh my god.
That's actually quite impressive because he
Yeah.
has quite a few race wins. He's like,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Good
So-
job, Checo.
You know what?
I'll give credit where credit is
Speaking
will
due.
about
say,
pole
this
position
weekend-
again,
I will say this weekend, Checo did very well.
Yeah.
He actually
he
did.
always does
He
well
was
at street circuits.
A Red Bull driver this year.
Mhm.
Yes. This
Not
race.
this year,
Yeah.
this race. I'll give credit where
him
credit's
constantly
due.
going back and
like-
forth with Charles. That was good to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt like it was
But also-
actually a race.
Mhm.
Yeah. Like him realizing that he had a 5-second penalty and then keeping at least 7 seconds between him and
Mhm.
Charles the rest of the race. Like
Mhm.
that was, I know he's in a rocket ship. I know that, like, I get it. But like we've seen him not be able to control the rocket ship in the past and not make it do what he needs it to. It's a car built for Max.
Yeah.
So for him to still be able to get what he needed out of it to make his 5-second penalty just basically useless was
Yeah.
like pretty insane.
Also in Q3, this was Max's first pole position in Jeddah,
Mm,
which I didn't know.
Good for
until
him.
I didn't know that either.
It was red. It was his first pole. And then also another stat that I caught from the commentators. This race makes George out qualifying Lewis 4 races in a row.
Also, he's never
Wow.
Welcome back,
He's
Princess
never been
Diana is
out qualified.
cooking.
He's never been
Happy
out
Mother's
qualified by
Day.
a teammate at Jeddah either. So
Mm,
I mean,
Go
to be
George
fair,
Russell.
Jeddah has only been around for like 4 years, but
but still.
If we're
Props
talking
to
about
George.
Lewis, though, I do feel like Lewis stepped up. He was the old Lewis again.
Yeah.
He was like the race-winning world champion Lewis, where I feel like
Except
we were
for
missing it.
getting
If we're talking
outplaced
about
by
out qualifying,
No, I mean
as
like
well.
his driving ways.
No,
Like,
yes.
he
Rosie,
seemed
we don't
like
need
he
to
was
bring that
back.
up. We don't need to bring it up. Actually,
Yes.
please don't. No.
If
I
we're
know exactly
talking
what she's
about-
gonna say, and I really
know,
don't want
I
her
do
to say
too.
it. I'm
If
gonna
we're
mute her,
talking about
actually.
out qualifying, then
Hold
we
on,
need
how do
to
I
talk
mute?
about Oscar out qualifying Lando.
See,
do we though?
see.
He did
Yeah.
last year as well, to be fair.
I mean, I think we're also forgetting though. Oscar's a beast in Jeddah, so
Yeah.
it was kind of
Yes,
Breathe.
that 2021 podium.
The
But I
maths.
actually think Jeddah might be Oscar's best track.
hmm
Oh,
And Qatar.
Well, and his race results prove that. So,
Yeah.
in quality, both Alpines flopped. Who's surprised? Not a single person.
Speaking of Alpine, first
Speaking
being
Let's
of the
go
season.
into the race.
I said that.
was
I said
Pierre
that last
Gasly.
podcast. But like the fact that it was not even in the race, it was in the
It was the
formation lap.
formation
he was
lap.
like, I didn't
No,
have
when
it.
I wasn't watching the screen. I was in the kitchen, like away from the living room, and so all I heard was something about a car and a formation lap and like engine or something, and I was like, no, no. And then I peeked in and saw Alpine, and I was like, oh, we're fine.
When I saw that pop up, when I was like, he said, "Oh, I have a gearbox this year, whatever." I
Mhm.
didn't think he was actually gonna make it off of the line. I'm gonna be completely
Yeah,
honest.
I think
So at least he
so.
made it off. So I want to say props for
Yeah.
that because he could have totally stalled, which I think would have
That
had a
would
big
have been
crash. I'm gonna be
chaotic.
If we're
completely-
talking
yeah.
off the line,
Okay.
Yeah.
No.
Oof.
Let's bring it up.
Hey,
Let's talk
he
about it.
manifested it.
I
He
support you.
said yesterday, he
Right.
was like, how do you want to start he was like, maybe I gotta jump the
Oh,
start.
maybe jump the race. Like, what?
Yeah.
Like-
No, the thing is,
And then he
I-
did.
okay, I understand it's like, oh, like it didn't really follow the race rules. It's the only time I actually agreed with David Coulthard, where he said he needs a penalty. Because
Even as
okay,
a Lando
listen,
fan,
not to bring it back to Fernando Alonso, but when Fernando Alonso had the same exact thing, he stayed in his box, but he jumped the start. He got a 10-second penalty.
Consider though, not to bring it back to Seb, but when he did it in
Wasn't
2021,
me.
the exact same thing.
He's innocent.
he got a penalty.
I'm his lawyer.
He's just
Sebastian
having a
Vettel's
little bit of
innocent.
fun.
penalty.
Okay,
He
then
just
I'm
wanted some
Lando's
fun.
lawyer. He's also innocent.
Seb is a
Hey,
four-time
you
world
must be a
champion.
pretty
Give it.
good lawyer considering
Not
Lando didn't get a
Seb isn't in
penalty.
the game anymore, so
Okay,
He will
but
be, he will
also
be.
the gag is everyone was so confused about him not getting the penalty to the point where in the post-race interview with Lando, they were
He's
talking
like,
about it
"I
and
don't
he
know."
just gave the craziest
He's
side
like,
eye
"Oh."
because he knows he
He
should
knows
have
he should've
gotten the
gotten it.
penalty, but
And
he's just like, I'm not
But
going to
I'm gonna
mention
be honest,
it.
though,
If you
I
look
think
at
he-
it, it's very obvious that he jumped, and I mean, it's obvious to everyone. Like, even George called him out, but then I
he-
guess it didn't trigger the sensors,
Yeah.
and that's why he didn't get it.
because he definitely he stopped in time though. Like he actually saved himself to.
Where is
But he
Speaking
started
about
outside
him-
of the box, which he's
Okay.
not supposed to. So
Excuse
that's
me, if
like
this was any other driver that wasn't a McLaren driver, Zach would
Yeah.
literally be
Would've
giving
been-
a script with slow-mo. He would be, they'd already
All
He
be
would
team
like,
pull up.
principals.
He'd say, I
Everybody
have
was
it
the-
printed out.
Freaking
he would have it printed out.
I have
freaking-
it printed out.
But that would be everybody though. Like, I mean, that would be any team principal or you know what I'm saying. So like, I mean, to be fair, like he's obviously not going to call
no,
out his own drivers, but
Yeah, but Zach Brown is known for that,
He's a
along
different
with
breed.
the other team principal that I'm not mentioning.
but
Did
anyways,
anyone
talking
see
about-
Norris's radio with his what is his radio engineer's name?
he switches sometimes.
Will.
Okay, Will.
But Will is the main one.
And they were talking about the jump start in like code, and so he was like, "Is Lance okay?" And Will was like, "Yeah, he's okay." And he was like, "And is everything else okay?"
Yeah.
And Will was like, "Yes." And he was like, "Nothing to be worried about." And Will was
Well,
like,
if we're
not
talking
worried."
about Lance,
Oh,
that crash was
yeah.
crazy.
Why?
Yes, it was.
Same exact place he did it in
Yeah.
practice.
Okay,
Yeah.
but
But
You
also
have
his front,
the
He's
his radio was actually genuinely so funny. I had to laugh and I felt bad. But it's him going, "Ooh, I hit the wall," and then his engineer going, "Can you bring it back?"
no.
And he goes,
No,
"No,
he
I'm in
said-
the fucking
No,
wall."
he said, no, he literally said he was driving, he goes, ugh. Like, you hear
Yeah.
it, and the guy, he goes, I hit the wall. And the guy goes, okay, that's okay, Lance, can you bring it back to the garage? And he goes, no, I hit the effing wall. The camera angle that caught it the first time, like it first showed on the race, they were following the people in front of him, and then Lance just goes, boom. And people went, there's Lance Stroll. I was like, this poor man, this poor guy.
No,
But
get a break.
his radio was very funny. I was like, that's the
Yes.
radio of the race.
Well,
Also,
Lance's
can we-
crash led to Lando
safety
leading
car.
the Grand Prix.
Okay,
Five laps.
One of 2 drivers to lead a Grand Prix this year.
Woo!
wow, shocking. It's only 2 races.
Let me have it, please.
No, listen, it could have been Max the entire time, and it
Also,
wasn't,
when his engineer was like, okay, like, you got to keep the tire thing. He's like, yeah, I'm trying, but I also have people behind me. And I was like, that's him saying, I have Max in a Red Bull, and he's going to kill me if I don't
Oh my god.
drive
Yeah.
so fast.
Bring in the
Watching-
Oscar quote of "It's a matter of when, not if."
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Watching
a very
the
different
camera
feeling.
shots, and just it's Lando and it's the back camera shot and it's just Max on his ass. I got scared, and I'm not even driving that damn car.
I'm not even in the same continent as him. I'm like, woohoo.
And I'm shook
I
trembling.
was trying to let him through.
Also,
But
wait, can we?
But he
also-
did hold his own for a while. Like
He
he was
did.
doing
Yeah.
well.
The pit lane drama when the safety car came out and everybody was like going into the pit, and then I was like, oh, that was like a smooth pit stop, like transition with
Yeah.
Red Bull. And then Fernando Alonso, I was like, okay, Checo kind of crushed it. And then Fernando Alonso went, whoa, I nearly crashed with the Red Bull so close. I went, Checo, I'm in your walls. I like switched up on that man so fast.
Speaking of
Yuki and
the-
Lando.
yeah, I was just about to say that was
Ah.
even before the race. So yeah,
And
I
that
still
affected me in the end.
When was that?
that was
I don't
like on the way to the grid, I think.
Yeah.
Oh.
Coming out of the grid during like
Yeah.
their little.
I thought it was the
warm-ups.
I thought it was
Lando's
pit stop.
reflexes.
Yeah.
Did anyone watch that? That
Yeah.
man
No, that
Like,
was good. And
so fast and
you could
didn't even
s-
react. Was just like crazy, and
but
let
the
him
thing
go.
is, you could see Yuki's engineer tell him to like wave him to stop, and Yuki didn't stop. And
Yeah.
then he just goes out and then he goes like right on the spot.
That could have been really bad for
would've been
for Lando and
horrendous.
Yuki.
Going back to the penalties, what did K-Mag do to these stewards?
He pissed off
Every
one of
tongue
them.
that rises against a Williams driver shall fall.
No, but it's so funny too because I was like,
Like, 10
this man
second
knows he has 20
10 second
seconds, and he's
penalty.
like, I'm just gonna have fun. It's
No,
Mario
okay.
Kart.
Wait, because
Well, they
He
were
got
telling him.
he
Yeah, they
had the
didn't
10
tell
second
him he
penalty
had-
on Alex, and I feel, to be honest, I feel like it was a little much for his incident with Alex.
Accident. I don't think it was
But-
either.
I'm a
Or-
Williams girly, so I'll take it. But the
Yeah.
teamwork that Kevin was doing with Nico to keep him up, and so no cars could kind of pass him despite him having the penalty, led
Mhm.
to Nico getting his singular point.
Mhm.
So good on Kevin Magnussen. I
Yeah.
guess.
Well, I
I'd
don't
say
think
that.
they were telling K-Mag
No.
about it because he was pushing so much because he wanted to get a point for himself and felt like he could. So they were like, he's helping out Nico.
Yeah,
So
you're like,
like,
"You're
even
doing
tell
great."
him.
Yeah.
They did.
Yeah.
I know that they changed.
Esteban Ocon School of Penalties.
I know that they changed the reason why they're 10 seconds is because they changed it from 5 seconds last year. I think
Yeah,
they're
but-
doing it to, and they definitely made an example out of K-Mag.
Yeah.
Today for
man.
sure, but I don't know. They did change. I know that's something I read. They changed
But
the penalty
The thing
times.
is-
But then Perez got a
but the thing
5
is this when-
second.
yeah,
Yeah.
when Checo almost killed Alonso, he only got a 5-second penalty. Give that man a 20-second penalty. He's in a rocket ship.
Yeah, I don't know. I just know that they changed the
Give
times.
Max a 20-second penalty
No,
for no
no,
reason.
honestly.
Still win.
For no
Still
reason.
win.
He'd be 32 seconds ahead. So you know
Yeah,
what?
He'll be fine.
Also, okay,
Yeah.
I don't remember who tweeted it, but they were like, wow, the old Alonso is back, because usually with Aston Martin, he's like, no talking. And like, it's been silent. He was like, wow, Perez almost killed me. Then he said, any chance of plan B because they're in another league. He said, give me a countdown of the laps. I'm in qualifying mode now. Like, he was like actually
when he said,
talking, and I was
"I'm
like,
in
wow.
qualifying mode now," I was like, "Who?"
I was like, wow. But also talking about radio messages,
Naughty.
we have to
Naughty.
talk about it. If I was called slow by the driver who drove in his first
Oh,
F1 race,
good.
quitting on the spot, I wouldn't even
good.
finish the race.
Oh, I'm
Crash
hitting
the car,
wall.
call it.
I'm gonna see how
I'd
far
be
I
done.
can get my car into the wall. Like,
Yeah.
You know what? That's me out. I'm gonna.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm pulling a
like,
Kimmy
this
and
is
going
my
onto my
costume.
yacht.
Yeah.
in front of him and I'm brake
what a
checking.
Kimmy.
Are you
Like,
kidding?
I'm bigger than this. I'm out of here.
Like,
That was
Also
crazy.
bold of Ollie. Bold
Yes.
of
I
Ollie.
love it. I love it.
He
Can we
ate that,
talk? Can we
though.
also
He
talk about real
devoured
quick
that.
on all, because I feel like his radio messages throughout the entire race, like that was full F1 driver mode. Like
He was so
Yeah.
He was-
professional.
But also his
Yes.
team, where his engineer was so good to him, just being like,
Yes.
"Oh, you're doing great. That was so good."
Yes.
I'm like,
Supportive.
"Aw."
It's like,
It
I mean,
literally
you're doing
actually brought
amazing,
me.
sweetie.
It actually brought me back to like F2 radio
Yeah.
the F2 radio messages, because that's what they're like, and I
Yeah.
felt like they were trying to like
I
but
think
he was
they-
just like, we're not F2 today. We are full F1.
He was
Like,
I think
Nice
Ferrari
man,
though.
driver.
I think Ferrari though was like, okay, this man, it's his second or third time in this car. We need to make sure he's comfortable so he doesn't hurt himself or somebody else. So let's
Yeah.
make him comfortable. And Ollie's like, I'm on it. He's like,
Like,
no
he
need.
said,
I'm on
locked
it.
in. Also, there's another thing. I saw it after the race, but if you see Ollie's headrest after the race, how
Mhm.
fucked up it is. Like,
Yeah.
poor guy just got the most expensive neck training of his life.
Yeah, he was saying.
He did also ask to get the pads, extra thick pads
Yes.
that Carlos
Yeah.
had removed because they were too thick. And even the
Yeah.
announcers were
Sorry,
like,
my man's
when
got a
he
thick neck. Sorry.
they were like, when he gets into the race, he might regret that because of the extra padding.
After the
There
race.
were 4
Yeah.
drivers flying under the British flag today.
The first time
That's
4
weird.
Brits scored points since 1968.
welcome back, One Direction.
Wow.
I also have a comment. Okay, Rosie, don't hate me after this. Oscar is usually a really good driver. Like, I think he can do a lot of overtaking. I think he's very, very like strategic. I just didn't see that in the race.
Lewis was holding him.
I don't know
Yeah.
if it was because Lewis was
It was Lewis.
like
Yeah,
having
Lewis,
a good day.
Lewis was defending.
He was
for his
defending
flag.
like
Mhm.
crazy.
Yeah. I mean,
But,
just
like-
like Oscar tweeted, he really
I know,
knows that
love
Mercedes rear wing.
I love that.
Yeah, he was like, I can't
He could
get
draw a
past
perfect
Yeah.
drawing of the back of the car.
Yeah.
Oscar
He kept
is fine.
trying.
But like also like I didn't feel like Oscar was at his best.
No, which is
Where Oscar
interesting.
literally
Let's
finished P4
see
though.
him at his best.
Yeah, of course.
If that's not his best, then what is?
Let's see him
Come on.
let's
The
see him on
podium.
the podium then.
Oop, T.
The
Yeah.
podium is his best. Can we talk about Lando getting the black and white flag for
weaving on
weaving?
the street.
Yeah.
Lando,
What was he
Lando
doing?
was a menace today.
Yeah, he was just like,
got
I
away
he,
with a
he
lot
was
of
like,
it.
I cannot let Lewis pass me. Like
Yeah.
that was his goal. And
no,
I
he
mean,
was swerving all over the
Yeah.
place. So every time they
Yeah,
cut
that was
to
a
him,
little
I was like,
crazy.
I personally would like to comment. Yes, the front battles are fun. I, as a Williams fan, was watching the back of the
Yeah.
grid,
Oh
and
my
it was
God,
all
that
the DRS
train
train. It
was
was going
so
insane.
fun.
you know,
but-
I'm gonna go ahead.
Ooh, I want to comment on Logan Sargent and his confidence this race. Him
Yes.
going, because he's right behind Alex and going, do I have permission to fight
Mhm.
Alex? Engineer said no, but that confidence.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest.
More
I
of
think they
that.
should have. I think they should have allowed
They
it
should
because I
have.
think at one point Logan was faster than Alex.
Yep.
So I totally think they should have allowed that.
That's my
Personally,
boy.
but
I also
Um,
think it wasn't just the race. I think Logan the entire weekend was very confident, which
Mhm.
gives me confidence that this guy, like this man's going to get up in like 10.
Yep.
I think
like-
Williams just needs to really work on some issues with the FW. What is it, 46?
Yeah.
I think they just have a couple issues that they really need to fix. But then I
Like
think
car too
both
hot.
of them.
We experienced
yes.
no car too hot today.
That is
And
true.
I cheer.
I just
Yeah.
think once they do, I think you could see both
Like-
Williams fighting for points.
Williams was a good team once. There's a
Yeah,
Most
this
reason.
successful
Yeah.
team in like
I have a
Formula One
statistic
history or
about
something.
that. Since Red Bull actually won this race, they move ahead of Williams to be 4th in the all-time constructors win tally. So
All right,
And all I'm
Wow.
seeing
Sebastian
is
Vettel
Adrian
come back
Newey.
to Williams.
Adrian Newey to Williams.
Adrian
I see
Yep,
it
Newey
I
now.
see it. I
Ferrari.
see it too. Yep.
Adrian Newey to
No, but
Williams.
I've seen
Also-
the script.
Yeah, something to note. Guess who had another bad pit stop this race?
Slow that down.
There we
Yeah.
go. So I really don't know what it
Womp
is, but if they have another bad pit stop in the next race in Australia, I think
quit.
we.
Valtteri Bottas' home race.
I think.
I think this is the race that kind of showed the pace of the cars.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think last race, like they were just trying to get the feeling of the
Mhm.
car. Like it was also really hot. It like wasn't
I
really like
know.
it wasn't really like a track that would be
Yeah.
could be like
Yeah.
you know, remade, have the same thing happen again. Whereas I feel like this track, Jeddah actually did kind of represent where the team stood,
Yeah.
which thank God, because
I think
that
it
means
also helped-
Mercedes, McLaren, Aston Martin, and Ferrari actually have a chance this year.
I think it also
Because-
helps that the drivers like Jeddah so much. Like collectively, they all enjoy the track so much. So they're like putting 110% in. Not that they aren't always, but like it's different when
kind
they
of-
actually enjoy a track.
I'm actually very excited for the rest of the season because of that. I'm also very excited because it seemed like every team that brought like a different rear wing or like a track specific thing, it worked.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like last year, some track specific things made it 10 times slower than it was supposed to. And
Like when Aston Martin started going backwards.
no idea what you're talking about.
Couldn't be the McLaren stealth mode livery.
True.
No, it was actually when I tell you, I was like, oh my gosh, they're bringing upgrades. Hallelujah. And then they were like, we are slower than we've ever been. And I was like, never mind, I don't need to watch this race. I already know what's gonna happen.
I feel like all the teams collectively like are understanding their cars a little better this year. And aren't just like, we don't know why they're working and we can't fix it. Suck.
This year's going to be so much closer
Except for Alpine.
in general.
I would like to point out, I've got two last things about this race, but to piggyback off what Haley said, in a way, I feel like you're right. Besides a certain Aussie who did spin
I was
out
gonna bring that up next.
at the
Let's
end.
talk about that.
Can I just tell you, I was watching the race and they were like, Daniel Ricciardo spun out and then moved on. And I was like, wait a minute, time out.
Yeah, they just didn't show it for a while.
I'm literally watching Oscar Piastri and you're like, oh, side note, Daniel Ricciardo spun. Anyways, moving on.
No, they showed
Yeah.
they showed him just like kind of off track adjusting a little bit.
Yeah.
But I remember I heard one of the commentators go, "Oh, Logan Sargent can breathe a little bit easier because Daniel Ricciardo spun out." And I said, "Yeah, Logan, breathe."
I had so much hope for Ocon taking Max out when he was trying to get past
Me
him to
too.
lap him. I was like, come on, SD. Come
Yeah.
on. Do me a solid.
I literally was in my head. I was like, you are 10 pounds heavier than you're supposed to be. You have no chance at
like-
winning anything. Take him out.
You're used to getting penalties. Just take
Yeah.
over the team and just
Also,
do it.
Max
That was me
already
with K-Mag and his 20 seconds. like,
Max
just
already
wait.
hates you. Might as well take one for the
Yeah.
team.
Ollie, driver of the day. That's it.
Ollie driver.
By a large margin.
Can we talk about K-Mag being on that list too? 8% K-Mag. I was like, okay, girl boss.
Echo is always on there, and I'm like, but
Yeah.
why?
I just like that. I do like that there was not a single hint of Max though. So
Also, one more comment. Charles Leclerc fastest lap.
yes,
On the last lap, he
On the last
stole
lap.
it.
I saw that little purple.
That
tick
was
mark
actually
go up to his name. I
crazy.
said, yeah.
That was great. He crossed
That
the
was
checkered
crazy.
flag.
I would just like to say Alonso had that
Though.
for like the first 5 laps. Then
Yeah.
Lewis Hamilton had it for like 15. Then it went to Max.
And then
and
Max
then
just
it went
kept
to
getting
Charles.
faster ones.
Yeah, and then Charles was like,
You
hold
saw
my beer.
Well,
Alright.
I'd say to end talking about the race, we talk about the podium.
I'm gonna be honest, I turned it off because I didn't need to hear the Dutch anthem.
But the
Really?
podium was obviously really good for Red Bull because it was a Red Bull one
Yeah.
too. So that's really good for their constructors. Ferrari podium again.
which is
Yeah,
also
people
really
showed
good for their
up.
constructors.
And you know,
Okay.
P5.
as president of 1681
Oh,
nation,
here we go.
P3
Oh, here we go
and
again.
P4.
As president as number 14. P5,
Logan-
baby, P5.
Logan got P14 after the race because of Yuki's. All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us today for another episode of the Pit Lane Yappers. Join us next week while we take a break from our regular F1 content because they'll be in Australia in 2 weeks from now. But we'll talk about some F1 Academy, F2, seat rumors, and more. So long.